Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today. And though you've come through many obstacles.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to the pilot and episode 1 of Smiling Friends, a first impressions reaction. Because this is a series I have heard a lot of people praise, and it's a series that I have been extremely hesitant to check out. Because if you guys know me at all by this point, you know that I am pretty much the Duchess. I don't know why that specific position, but I'm going with it. I'm the Duchess of hating on adult animation. I've made it very clear that most adult animation out there is bad to me. Most of it centering around very immature comedy that just isn't good. You see the likes of Family Guy as an example, and that's kind of my go-to example because it's shit. Like, it's not funny. It like might have one or two jokes really, really randomly spread about that work. And everything else is so terrible and in a lot of cases actually dangerous or extremely offensive, and not even offensive as like, oh, we're just trying to crack jokes at everyone. It's like, no, like actually offensive. And it's just, it doesn't work. But you sometimes do get a show that is mostly good or even really good. A show, for example, mostly good, Futurama. There are a lot of issues with Futurama. There are a lot of things that do not hold up. There's even entire episodes that just aren't good. And not just in terms of general quality, but actually, like, really not good and did not age well. But a lot of it is actually really well made. And then you have ones that are actually just really good from start to finish, like Last Man. And I'm not going to count anime in here because anime tends to be very diverse and very all over the place as it is, so I'm counting that kind of as its own separate thing. I'm talking about Western animation here. But probably the biggest offender when it comes to Western adult animated shows is Adult Swim. Adult Swim is kind of known for terrible, very terrible adult shows. And the thing is, it used to be really good. It used to have stuff that was actually pretty damn good on it, like Metalocalypse and Aqua Teen Hunger Force. But now it's like, the kind of shit they show in the more modern years have been absolute dog shit. And so, I'm saying all of this to really hammer it in that I am not a fan of a lot of adult animation, and especially stuff that comes from Adult Swim. So that is why I've been super hesitant to check out Smiling Friends, even despite the rave reviews it got. Because the thing is, Rick and Morty has rave reviews. I don't like Rick and Morty. So, yeah. I think it's absolutely dumb and pretentious. But this is not about Rick and Morty today. I'm not getting into that, and I know there's already probably people who are going to dislike this video just because of me saying that. But we're here about Smiling Friends, and I've seen the visuals of this series. It's super basic, super low quality. Think 12-ounce mouse, but okay, maybe not that low quality. But kind of in that realm. And I think that's intentional, but at the same time, I don't know what that's going to mean for the series. And on top of that, I don't know what this show's about. I don't know, like, what the focus is. I don't know what kind of comedy it centers around. I don't know, like, if it even is centered around comedy. I don't know. Because I haven't even really seen a clip or anything of this. I've seen some screenshots, and I And it was mainly of just, I guess, maybe the main characters. I would wager. But that's it. And I know nothing. So you may be wondering, okay, so if you're so hesitant on this, why are you doing both the pilot and the first episode? Well, because the pilot is never a good example of what the full series is probably going to be like. But I also don't want to skip it, because I feel like it's still part of the intended viewing experience. Because think about this. Hell of a Boss, when the pilot came out, I hated it. Like, I actively hated it. And while I've become a little softer on the pilot since then, I still don't like it compared to the main series. The main series of Hell of a Boss, I actually love. I think it's phenomenal. And it's only just proven itself time and time again to be a really overall fantastic series. But the pilot would not tell you that, in my opinion. In my opinion, the pilot actually is really bad. The jokes are bad. The characters just don't work. And it's just, it doesn't feel like it's fully put together. And I know it's a pilot, and it's kind of just to give you a small taste of how things would peter out. And that's why I ended up still giving the main series of Hell of a Boss a chance, even though I really didn't like the pilot. Because I understood that it was just a pilot and things were probably going to change quite a bit. And they did, for much so the better. And so while I think I should watch the pilot for this, I'm also going to watch episode 1, because I feel like that will give me more of a view on what the series is actually going to be like. While the pilot is going to be more like, okay, this is just the initial pitch for it and everything. But again, I still feel like I should watch the pilot, because I feel like it's just part of the intended viewing experience. Just like with Infinity Train. It's like the pilot was obviously regurgitated within the first season of Infinity Train. But it's like, I still feel that I should have watched the pilot first, which I did. And again, I think that was the right decision. So it's kind of the same deal here. So yeah, I don't know what to expect with this series at all. All I know is that it's pretty popular. That people seem to think it's really good, and it's actually one of these adult animated series out there that is, like, really on the higher level of quality. But I will determine that for myself. And mind you, for myself, I emphasize that, because this is gonna just be my opinion. If I don't end up liking this and you guys love this series, then just keep in mind, it is just my opinion. If I don't like it, that's completely subjective. It's completely on me, and I'm not trying to convince you otherwise. So yeah. And if I do like it and you don't, same goes for that. I'm not trying to convince you to like it. It's just, if I do like it, I do like it. Simple as that. So yeah. We're going to get this going. I do apologize for the lighting in here. It's later when I'm recording this, so the lighting's going to be shit. I apologize, but there's not really much I can do. But that being said, like, both of these are around like 11 to 15 minutes each, so they'll be probably pretty easy to get through, even if I don't end up liking them. But we'll see. We'll see. I just hope it's not the exact same thing twice in a row. I hope the pilot and the first episode aren't exactly the same thing, just like, you know, the episode 1 is better animated or whatever. That's my only big hope for this, that they don't just regurgitate the same thing again, that it does have some differences that are notable, you know? But all of that being said, we're just going to get on with this, hope for the best. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black, then it fades back in, Everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. Okay, and we are back, and we will begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So I looked it up because I was really confused there and why I had the same episode twice, even though I downloaded it from 2 completely separate files on the website. Apparently, the first episode was initially released as a pilot as well on April 1st, April Fool's Day of 2020. And it was then re-released, this exact same episode, on January 10th of 2022 as part of the official release, as part of the official, series that this got ordered for, I guess. So it was the exact same episode twice. And okay, sure. So that's I apologize for that. This isn't the pilot in episode 1. I guess it's just episode 1, which also is the pilot. So yeah. Also, I found out Finn Wolfhard was the man living in the wall. And him and his brother also voiced the Bibblies. So there's that. Okay, so let's talk about this first episode, pilot, whatever you want to call it. I'm mixed. Because this was so absolutely batshit that it was almost kind of entertaining because of it. It was so off the wall. It was so just completely insane. And it doesn't tell you anything going in. You do not learn a single fucking thing going in. And so it's like it just goes. It just like starts and you're just expected to just accept everything. And it's like 12 or so minutes of absolute insanity. And in that kind of manner, it's almost similar to Adventure Time, because Adventure Time's first episode just goes. It doesn't tell you anything, doesn't give you any backstory or information or anything. You just kind of have to learn that through watching. So Adventure Time very much did the same thing, but here it's obviously it's much more batshit and random and exceptionally insane than Adventure Time has ever been, and that's saying a lot. That's saying a lot. Also, obviously, more adult. And like I said, it's almost kind of entertaining and almost kind of fun to watch because it's so absolutely batshit that it's almost kind of funny in that way. I don't know how to explain it properly. It's almost kind of funny and entertaining because it's so absolutely bonkers that it's just, you never know what's going to happen at any given time. There were so many, I guess you could call them twists and turns in this, that it's like it threw me off so many times. Now here's the other side of this, and I don't know if the series continues to go in this kind of direction, but the way it handled this person who was excessively suicidal to the point of almost getting very graphic and getting like very intense about it, physically upset me. And I don't know how apparent it was, because again, I'm not great at expressing things. I've said this before. I don't express myself visually as well as other people. I presume it's part of my autism, but I can't say for sure. But I don't express myself super well physically. So I don't know how clear it was to you guys watching, but I was excessively uncomfortable with that. The fact that he had the gun pointed at his head the entire episode until he, shot the Bibli at the end, it's just like, The fact that even just the fact that when they went in the room and just it suddenly throws that at you, it's just like I mentioned in the reaction, because of my experiences with depression and suicide attempts and all, I was really uncomfortable. I was like, I was like, again, physically upset, as in I was on the verge of like not doing well. And the thing is, I'm afraid that that might be at least a thing in this series to some degree. Because if this series is about like these two people whose jobs it is to make people smile and everything, it could deal with a lot of this kind of shit. And maybe not specifically suicidal tendencies, but just stuff like this that could really just hit me personally way too hard. And I'm not exactly a fan of being put into that kind of emotional state. If I'm being at all honest here, I really don't want to feel the kind of emotions that this made me feel. And especially like near the end where it's just like he starts going on this like almost existential rambling about how everything is fleeting and everything you do to make you happy is fleeting, and the earth's gonna explode anyway and everything. It's just like I almost stopped it right there. Like I figured we were near the end and everything, but I almost had to stop it right there. I almost couldn't continue after that. It's just I it's just I feel this might be a series that just isn't for me, not because the comedy is bad or because the series is poorly written or acted or anything, but because of that kind of personal just connection I have to that specific thing. And if it, I don't know if that's going to be a continuous thing throughout this series, but that really upset me, like very legitimately upset me. And it, because of that, I don't feel comfortable wanting to continue this. Definitely not as a reaction. But I'm not even sure if I can continue this on my own time. And for those who aren't affected by that kind of thing, it might be a lot better. It might be a lot easier. And this series might be really good to them. And it's like I could see some levels of humor in there, and I can see how like extreme randomness can be funny and everything. Like I said, there was parts in this that were at that level of being so batshit insane, so random, so off the wall that they were kind of reaching that level of being funny and entertaining. But the heavy factor of that specifically with my connection to it, it almost put me into a very bad place. And because of that, I have to say that we are not going to be continuing this on the channel. And I don't even know if I'm ever going to continue this on my own time. But that's part of a first impressions reaction. So it won't always work out. Not every first impressions reaction is going to work out. Not everyone is going to be something I want to continue reacting to or watching. That's kind of the point of a first impressions reaction. To find that out. I was willing to give this a shot because I had heard so much about it, and it was mentioned in the Discord even just recently. But after watching that, it's just like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to handle this. And based on just how this episode went down, I don't think I should try to handle this. Because again, I don't want to end up in a very, very bad place emotionally. I've been there, and it's not been good for me on any level. Mentally, physically, just emotionally, obviously. It's not something I want to handle right now, and it's not something I think I should handle right now. So for those of you who like this, I can see why. I get why. But I hope you understand my reasoning too. I hope you understand my thoughts on this. And no matter what, if you like this, keep liking it, keep watching it, keep enjoying it for as long as you want to and can. As I said in the pre-thoughts, it's all my viewpoint, all my subjective opinion. I'm not trying to change yours. I'm not here to influence you at all. I'm simply here to share my views on stuff that I react to. So, yeah. Either way, thank you so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.